I'm here on my couch and I'm ready to talk about movies that I watched in the last month. This is for the month of June. As always, I would love it if you would comment down below and let me know what movies that you saw this month, or shows, doesn't have to be movies. Curious to know if you agree with me or did you feel different about some of the movies that I'm gonna mention. Let me know what should I check out also for July. Always appreciate it if you comment down below and share. So starting with the first movie, Father of the Bride. It just came out 2022 on HBO Max. It is a romance drama comedy that obviously is, I'm not sure if it's a spin-off or a playoff or a reboot. I'm not sure what you would call it. There's already a Father of the Bride. It's the one with Steve Martin. I've actually never seen that one, so now I kind of need to. But this is the new Father of the Bride. This one features a Cuban-American family and it's set in Miami, which hits home for me because I live in Miami and I'm Cuban. And a lot of these elements in the movie were very, I could relate to. It is the same premise. The daughter is getting married. The father has to approve of the new son-in-law, and it's the whole drama there. But Andy Garcia plays the father and Gloria Estefan plays the mother, which is really cool because Gloria Estefan to me was everything growing up. I had all her albums and she was like a huge influence to me as a kid. I think this movie was a really fun family movie. It's not amazing and I wonder if it's, I need to watch the first Father of the Bride so I can compare them, but I'm sure the first one's better, I assume. But this one just really for me had something special to it because I got to see like Miami in it, which is really cool. They showed a lot of scenes in Little Havana, Domino Park, Coral Gables. They even showed Ball and Chain. And obviously if you live in Miami or you're Cuban, you would appreciate the movie because you would get all those like little details. For example, the father, he's super stubborn. He always has to bring up where he came from. Cliche Cuban father kind of character. And I loved that element about it, but I think the movie's okay. It's nothing super amazing or special. I just think it's a good family movie. I don't think kids would care for it, and I don't even know if it's considered kid-friendly. I just think it's a good light comedy, you know, family drama. It's just an easy watch, and I recommend it, but obviously I'm a little biased. Let me know if you watched it and what you thought. Next up we have Duel. This is a new 2022 movie that's on Amazon Prime right now. It's a sci-fi thriller. It features Karen Gillan and Aaron Paul. This movie's a weird one. It has to do with cloning. The main character decides to go through a cloning procedure. I'm not gonna explain exactly why or all the details, but basically her and her clone end up having to do a duel to the death to decide who gets to stay in the world. It's super dry humor, super dark humor, I guess, as well. Also, the humor is like limited. It is not like a funny movie. It has funny elements, but it's not like a haha funny. It's a strange style of the dialogue. It's really awkward almost. I guess the right way to say it is deadpan humor. It's very deadpan. I still enjoyed it and I really loved Aaron Paul's character in this. The whole tone of the movie, the whole dryness of it is to me very unique in a film, so I enjoyed that aspect of it. But if you don't like that part about it, it will get to you because it's the whole time. Next up we have Spiderhead. This is a 2022 film that just came out on Netflix. That's a sci-fi thriller. It's also kind of more like a psychological thriller, I would say. It stars Miles Teller and Chris Hemsworth. The director is the same director who made that new Top Gun Maverick movie that everybody's talking about. I have yet to see that, and I really wasn't even considering watching that in theaters, but now I really have to rent it. I don't think I'm gonna still see it in theaters, but everybody's making such a big deal about Top Gun that I'm just curious. Have you watched it? Is it that good? Everybody's saying it's so good that I need to understand why is it this good. This is set in like a jail penitentiary style place that's run by a scientist who experiments with mind-altering drugs with his subjects. I really did enjoy Chris Hemsworth's character in this, and I really did like certain elements about this film, but it is odd as well, and it falls flat in the end, in my opinion. I thought the concept was cool. I appreciate films that are unique and doing something a little different, and I did think this one had something to it that I still appreciated, but in the end, I just wasn't too happy with it in the end. I think it's still worth a watch, but I just wonder how many people can truly enjoy this film. It is a little, I don't know, a little bit of a downer also. Next we have the film Crush. This is a 2022 film that just came out on Hulu, and it features the girl who is the voice of Moana. I want to say her name, but I'm going to say it wrong probably. Auli? I don't know how to say her name, but she was in this film, and I have never really seen her in a film I haven't seen her in any film actually. She's the voice of Moana. She's not literally in it physically. But this is an LGBT friendly romance film. I decided to film this video and now they're throwing fireworks outside. So if you hear fireworks sometimes, don't be alarmed. High school romance teen film. And I loved it. It is so cute, it's quirky, it's wholesome. I truly enjoyed it. I thought it was just a really easy, cute watch for probably girls would appreciate it more than boys, but I just think that it was a very like sweet film. If you like teen romances and if you like kind of like awkward first kisses and things like that, I thought it was really cute and I enjoyed it, so I just wanted to throw it out there. Next up we have The Outfit. This is the 2022 drama mystery that just came out on Peacock for free. I'm gonna read the plot because it's pretty simple. Leonard is an English tailor who makes suits on London's famous Savile Row. He must outsmart a dangerous group of criminals to survive a fateful night. Mark Rylance is the main actor in this film and he is awesome. He's great in this film. It's a very clever and surprisingly interesting film. Off the bat, I wasn't sure I would like get into it or care for it because it is kind of like mafia-esque, but not exactly. It does have, it all takes place in this one tailor shop, which I love films that can pull that off. I always appreciate a film that can like make the whole film in one setting. It has a limited amount of characters and actors in it. The main character of the film, Mark Rylance's character, is really the one that kind of like really carries the film. I thought it was interesting. It keeps you guessing the whole time. There's a lot of little plot twists. It has very old-fashioned vibes. It's very theatrical, but it looks very old-fashioned, if you know what I mean. And like, I really liked it, and I'm surprised I did. Next we have Dashcam 2021, and here's the problem. So there's 2 dash cams that came out in 2021. So I was looking for a specific dash cam and I ended up watching the wrong one because they're both called dash cam and they both came out in 2021. But the only difference is that one is a psychological thriller and the other one's a horror thriller. And I missed that part, so we ended up watching 2 dash cams. I'm gonna talk about the first one that we watched really quickly because it was not that good, and then get to the good Dashcam, the one that we were supposed to watch the whole time. Dashcam, the psychological thriller. It's about a news editor who receives a secret Dashcam video evidence that points to a possible government conspiracy theory. I was like watching the first 15-20 minutes and I was like, okay, how is this gonna turn into a horror? I was so confused. I was just waiting for the movie to turn into a different movie the whole time, and then it hit me about halfway through the movie. I was like, oh, we're watching the wrong film. We decided at that point to just keep watching it because we were like halfway through and it was horribly boring. Don't recommend. Now, Dashcam 2021, the horror thriller, that's the fun one. It is about a live streamer during the pandemic who goes from LA to London and gives a ride to an old sick woman who is not what she seems. And this film is chaotic in the best way possible. It is obviously filmed live streaming style, so it's one of those, you know, handheld camera kind of thing. It is crazy. Just like, so much goes on. And I loved every bit of that because I love chaos. It has a lot of good jump scares. There's some really creepy parts to it, but also it is hilarious at the same time. It's so bad that it's good type of thing. Like there's moments where it's so ridiculous that it's funny. The main character, people hate her, and I understand why. She's kind of like that, you know, obnoxious like Karen character. So I understand that people really didn't like her and found her annoying. I thought her being annoying the whole time was hilarious, and I really thought she was the comic relief amongst all the horrific things happening, and I really enjoyed it. She's just like a really like not good human, and I think a lot of people wanted her to die the whole time. And it's like one of those things where I enjoyed her character, so I don't know. I don't know if I'm alone in that. But let me know if you watched Dashcam 2021, the horror and not the psychological thriller. This is the front cover, not this one. More fireworks in the background, great. Taking a break from movies and moving into TV shows, just a few TV shows. Only Murders in the Building just started again, literally last night before I filmed this video. And it's just 2 episodes so far, but I'm here for it because I love that show. Season 2 just started on Hulu. It features Selena Gomez, Steve Martin, and Martin Short, and they are the best. I almost said duo, but they're not a duo, they're a trio. They're the best trio. I love them. I think their dynamic is hilarious. If you have not seen the first season, I highly suggest watching it, but the second season is going really, but I'm loving where the second season is going so far. It's drama, it's mystery, it's crime, but it's also comedy, and I love it. Another show I wanted to mention is The Boys. Season 3 just came out this month on Amazon Prime. If you have not seen The Boys, it is intense. It is about superheroes, but in the most real world, horrific way possible. Some of the superheroes in the show are good people, and then there's some really, really bad, corrupted superheroes. Things can get very gruesome and gory on that show. I should warn you if you haven't checked it out. It's about superheroes, but it's nothing like a Marvel film. It's like the horror version of superheroes. It's just like they really go hard with like gross, gory stuff sometimes. And I'm not a huge fan of the lengths they go to get gross. I do love the concept of the show. I am really into it, and season 3 has proved to be very good so far. So let me know if you're watching it. Okay, this is a silly show I just had to throw in there. Man vs. Bee that just came out on Netflix. Mr. Beans is back, but he's not Mr. Beans in this. He is basically Mr. Beans, but it's not an official Mr. Beans thing. It's Mr. Bean style comedy in a new Netflix show that is about him house sitting for a fancy house, and there's a bee. And the whole time it's his obsession with this little bumblebee. It's honestly a really cute show and like a light-hearted, easy watch comedy, like something you could put on the background. I think kids can enjoy it, and I think adults can enjoy it, and I think it's really random that they did this, but I liked it, so I'm not mad about it. And then we watched the show Yellowstone. There's 4 seasons of it, and it started in 2018. It's on Peacock and Paramount Network. It really stars Kevin Costner, and this is basically a drama series about a very complicated family who has a lot of drama, and they are a family of ranchers who own like the largest ranch in the US. And the show has so much to it that I really couldn't even begin to express or explain what the show entails, because it's mostly family drama, but then there's also like all these people out to get them. I never thought I could get into a show about a bunch of cowboys, and I really wasn't intending to get into it. Jeremy was putting it, and I was kind of watching it on the side of my eye, you know, on my phone, but like kind of watching it, and then I actually ended up getting into it. The character Beth, she is my favorite, and she's kind of the main reason why I even really started watching it, because she's just so fearless and so out there and aggressive and just mean, and I love her character, so I kind of got into the show thanks to her. But it's a really good show. Once you actually start getting into the family drama and learn about all the characters, and once you get involved in it, I think it's worth a watch. I'm not a fan of cowboy movies or stuff like that, so again, I'm very surprised, but this is a really good show. Okay, back to movies. We finally watched Morbius, the infamous movie that just came out this year. It's an action fantasy, and you can currently rent it on Redbox, starring Jared Leto. And this film has a 16% on Rotten Tomatoes. People talked about how bad it was, so we rented it going into it expecting it to be bad, and actually I didn't think it was that bad. I feel like I don't know, sometimes people make such a big deal about films that you hype it up in your head for it to be crazier. When everybody was raving about Everything Everywhere All at Once and saying it was like this life-altering, changing movie, I walked out of there disappointed because I was really expecting to be more affected by that film. Well, Morbius was supposed to be like the worst film. I don't know, people were saying it was like a train wreck, and then when I was watching it, I was like, this isn't that bad. This isn't any better or worse than like the last Batman film. I know that's controversial, I'm sorry. I'm just saying I wasn't really crazy about that film, and I wasn't really crazy about this one either, but it didn't bother me. It was fine, it was watchable. I didn't hate it. I didn't think it was horrible. I don't know what is it about the film that people find so bad, but I just didn't understand why people hate it so much. Tell me down below if you feel totally different than me, and it's fine, we can have different opinions. I'm just saying it really wasn't that bad. The next film I want to talk about is The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. 2022 action comedy featuring Nicolas Cage, and is now available to rent on Redbox. I looked forward to this film because I heard that it was a very silly Nicolas Cage-esque film, but like meta in that sense, because it's Nicolas Cage being Nicolas Cage in this film, and we all know Nicolas Cage to be this like ridiculous, silly character or silly actor. And I honestly was expecting this film to be the most Nicolas Cage like as possible. Like I wanted him to be his most extra ridiculous self, and it really wasn't as ridiculous as I wanted it to be. It was kind of like a decent film. I thought I liked it, I enjoyed it, but it was just like a basic film. Like it had moments of him being like a little extra, but it really wasn't as funny as I was hoping it would be. It really wasn't as out there, I guess, as I was expecting it to get. Because of the Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent movie, there's this whole part where he talks about Paddington 2 and how Paddington 2 is like the best film ever. You know, this isn't the first time I've heard that Paddington 2 is like this amazing film. If you go on Rotten Tomatoes, it has like a 99%. So I was like, I can't believe I've never seen Paddington or Paddington 2. So we watched Paddington 1 and 2. Paddington 1 is on Netflix and Paddington 2 is on HBO Max. It's about a bear who travels to London to look for a new home. The first film came out in 2014 and then the second film came out in 2017. And they're cute. They're super cute films. But I was not like, I wanted Paddington 2 to like make me cry. I wanted it to change my life and make me want to be a better person, and it didn't do that for me, and that's the whole thing with that. I don't know why people love it so much. I think it's cute. I think it's a great family film. I think kids will love it. As adults, we enjoyed it, but it wasn't like it was this like monumental, like amazing, I don't know. Okay, so going into some comedy specials, because we love our stand-up comedies. A lot came out on Netflix this month. There was a ton of comedy specials. One of them is Rick G. Supernature. It is Rick Gervais, I believe that's how you say it. It's on Netflix, and it is one of the best comedy specials I've seen in a long time. He definitely touches all the offensive topics possible, so if you're highly offended, don't ever see any of these comedy specials. You know, comedy sometimes the whole point of it is to push those buttons, you know? And he does a great job with it. I really truly think it was one of the best comedy specials I've seen in a long time. And if you're someone who can appreciate comedy at all, if you like stand-up, I've never seen a stand-up with him before. I've never even watched the UK version of The Office, so I really have no attachment or anything to Rick G. But this stand-up special made me really consider watching more of his stuff and seeing more of his stand-up, so I was very impressed. And another person who really surprised me, we had never seen him before, his name is Paul Virzi. He just came out with a special called Nocturnal Admissions on Netflix. He really impressed us. We thought he was very good too. And another fun find, a new stand-up, a new comedian we can like continue to look forward to, because he was really great. Like I said, Netflix came out with a bunch of stand-up specials. There's all these different ones that is like someone presents, and if you've seen, like for example, Bill Burr presents Friends Who Kill. This one we loved, of course. And then Snoop Dogg did one, and there's a ton. So I feel like if you love comedy, you can just go and watch all those stand-up specials on their own, because that's already a lot of options and content right there. And while we were in that like comedy mode, we started watching an old comedy special, Zach Galifianakis Live at the Purple Onion. It is a 2006 comedy special that's on Netflix featuring Zach Galifianakis. And if you like him at all, then it's worth a watch, but it is definitely a different type of comedy special. His style of stand-up is totally different. He's on a piano, he kind of says one-liners that are silly and at the same time they're hilarious. And then he also plays characters, and he kind of intertwines moments where he talks to the audience and does like a little bit of different stuff, and I really thought he was a lot of fun to watch. If you're a fan of him at all, I think you could appreciate it. Now I want to talk about a movie that actually is probably the best movie I saw all month. It's not a new one, it's an old film, but it was like the best discovery of the month. It's called Death Becomes Her. and I can't believe I've never seen this film because it is so up my alley. It is a 1992 fantasy comedy featuring Meryl Streep, Goldie Hawn, and Bruce Willis. There's this like star, Meryl Streep, and she takes away Goldie Hawn's boyfriend, and then there's this like potion and it turns you beautiful and young forever, backfires on them, and it's this whole drama. But the really fun part about this film was the Tim Burton vibes. It is so Tim Burton-esque, if you know what I mean. The director is Robert Zemeckis, I think that's how you say it. He did Back to the Future, he did Forrest Gump, Castaway, The Witches, the Roger Rabbit film. I would say out of all his films, this one has The Witches vibes. There is a lot of special effects, and they play around a lot with all of that, but I thought it was such a fun film. It's just like one of my new favorite films, and I enjoyed it a lot. I just love the style of the film, the aesthetic. Meryl Streep and Goldie Hawn, their dynamic is amazing, and I would totally rewatch that film. That's like the only film on this list that I would just want to rewatch. And then another film that really surprised me that I had never seen either, and it's also an old film that's a classic, so I'm also kind of ashamed that I've never seen it before. It's Christine, a 1983 horror thriller, and that's currently on Netflix if you want to watch it. This is a John Carpenter film. If you don't know, John Carpenter did Halloween and The Thing. It's based on a novel by Stephen King, and Christine is about a car who kills people. You know, just a normal plot of a film. I, again, am surprised I've never seen it before, but better late than never. It's a very good film if you have not checked it out. If you like Stephen King and if you like John Carpenter, then you're gonna love this film. But if you love cars, which I don't even care about cars, but if you like cars, I can see how you would have a special love for this film. It's a fun horror, you know, light on the horror, but it's a fun ride. Speaking of horror, we watched a few like early 2000s horror films because we were like in that vibe for some reason. So we watched House of Wax. This is a 2005 horror thriller that is currently free on Tubi and is the same director who did The Shallows, Orphan, and for some strange reason he's the director for Jungle Cruise, the new one that just came out with like The Rock. So that's random. This film came out in 2005. I was 15 at the time, and I was too scared to watch this film. Paris Hilton's in this, and Chad Michael Murray, and it's so early 2000s. All the wax figures and the whole concept behind the film, it kind of goes there. I was kind of surprised how, like, I don't want to say gruesome, but like how horrific the film can be. I was very surprised with how good it actually is as a horror film. Another random horror film that we decided to watch is The Uninvited. And this is a 2009 horror thriller that I had seen before in the past. It's been so long that I just wanted to rewatch it. It's free right now on Vudu, HBO Max, and I believe on Hulu as well. And this is like a PG-13 horror. So this one was the kind of film that I did watch in the past because I could handle PG-13, but I just could not handle House of Wax at that time in my life. It features Elizabeth Banks and Emily Browning. I remember liking this film back when it first came out, and I still liked it now. It is definitely on the psychological thriller side. I would not call it much of a horror. And it's one of those films that I remembered one key fact about the ending. Going back and watching it again the second time and knowing this one thing changed my whole perspective of watching the film the second time around. I like that part about it. I like that the ending kind of reveals something that makes you want to go watch it all over again just so you can see it in that new lens. Okay, two more films. We have Gia. This is my first time watching that film as well. 1998 drama romance, currently on HBO Max, and stars Angelina Jolie. And it's based on the fashion model Gia, who I really didn't know anything about going into this film. I don't know if this was the film that like made Angelina Jolie famous, or if it was just one of the films that kind of got her, set her up to be recognized as who she is. It's based on a true story. I didn't know anything about the true story, so going into this I was completely blind, and I didn't realize how sad of a film that this would be. If you know anything about Gia, like the model, the real life story of her, then obviously you know what goes on in the film, but I didn't know any of that, so it has a lot to do with her struggling with drugs. I feel like I can't tell you what's gonna happen because it spoils it if you haven't seen it, but also it's like out there in the world, like it's actual facts of what happened to her. I'm just not gonna say it out loud in this video, but it's pretty sad. It's a pretty sad film. Very sad ending. Last film is one of my favorite films of all time, and it's Anchorman. 2004 comedy that's currently on Netflix, directed by Adam McKay and featuring a ton of my favorite people. We have Will Ferrell, Steve Carell, Paul Rudd, Christina Applegate, Seth Rogen, Ben Stiller, Vince Vaughn. I mean, there's so many fun reasons to love this film. One of the most quotable films. I have like practically memorized all the lines in this film, and it never gets old. I've seen it many times, and I just wanted to watch it again because it's on Netflix, even though I actually own the film as well. One of the funniest films I've ever seen. Step Brothers would be up there as well, but I love Will Ferrell. If you don't like Will Ferrell, then you're not gonna love this film. If you love Anchorman, then we can be best friends. So let me know down below if you love Anchorman or Step Brothers, because they kind of, you know, go hand in hand. Anchorman 2, not that good. So that's everything I watched in the month of June. Let me know what films you're looking forward to this month. What are you planning to see? Are you gonna see Black Phone? Have you seen Top Gun? What is coming out that you are excited about? And share them all down below in the comments. Toodaloo!